This is Mac OS Ken.
Order and release dates for Apple Vision Pro, a significant expansion for Indian iPhone production, and Napoleon targets your living room. It is Tuesday, the 9th of January, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. I used to think conspiracy theories were fun. You know, back when they were the basis of TV shows, not the basis of political campaigns. Don't think I think it's a conspiracy that Apple is launching its mixed reality headset, Apple Vision Pro, the day after what many expect to be a disappointing holiday quarter earnings report. I honestly think it's just good PR. If the first quarter fiscal year 24 earnings are great, it'll be a strong start into the era of spatial computing. If earnings are crap, who's got time to worry about that? We're entering the era of spatial computing. That's a quote, by the way, in case you hadn't picked up. Apple issued a press release Monday laying out lots of Apple Vision Pro info, including when pre-orders for its mixed reality headset will begin, when it'll go on sale, when folks can try it out, and a whole lot more. Hitting those first three first, pre-orders begin in about a week and a half on Friday, the 19th of January at 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Pacific. They should land on the faces of pre-orderers 2 weeks later, Friday, the 2nd of February. And Friday, the 2nd of February is also when people can try the devices out, which is kind of funny. For years, even pre-pandemic, Apple did what it could to get people to order products online rather than having them line up at stores. Now, they're going to have lines to try out a product that people likely won't be there to buy. If you missed the thing about the demos in the press release, yeah, so did I. A piece from Apple Insider says the company sent out emails Monday saying it will open Apple stores early to give customers a first look at the Apple Vision Pro. The demos will occur on Friday, the 2nd of February at 8 a.m. and continue through Sunday, the 4th of February. Apple notes that demo times are exclusively on a first-come, first-served basis. The era of spatial computing has arrived, said Tim Cook, Apple CEO. No pushing and shoving. I added that last part. The era of spatial computing has arrived, said Apple CEO Tim Cook. Apple Vision Pro is the most advanced consumer electronic device ever created. Its revolutionary and magical user interface will redefine how we connect, create, and explore. First announced last year at WWDC, we already know a lot of what Apple hit in this week's press release, though we did get more detail. For example, we knew there would be immersive video offerings. Now we know that users will have access to more than 150 3D titles in the Apple TV app. That's in addition to high-definition movies and TV shows from Apple TV+, Disney+, Max, and other services on a screen that feels 100 feet wide. We knew there would be games on offer. Now we know that spatial games, including Game Room, What the Golf, and Super Fruit Ninja, will do the immersion thing. That's on top of all the games in the App Store and the 250-plus titles in Apple Arcade that can be played on a screen as large as players want, with support for popular game controllers. We knew about Zeiss. Now we know the price. I'm a poet, and I didn't even realize those words would rhyme. As had been announced, Zeiss optical inserts will be available for Vision Pro buyers with vision correction needs. Inserts for readers will run buyers an additional $99. Inserts for prescription lenses will tack on $149 to the price, which is less than had been expected. A piece from Apple Insider says prices between Zeiss and other companies had expected costs for prescription inserts to land between $300 and $600. There were questions around straps for Apple Vision Pro. We knew about the one that went around the back of the head. While we also saw images of one that went over the top of the head, it wasn't clear whether that would be included, a thing Apple sold separately, or the purview of third-party sellers. It is the first one. According to Apple's press release, flexible straps ensure audio remains close to the user's ears, while the included solo knit band and dual loop band allow users to find the optimal fit for them. We knew about Apple's FaceTime Play. What we did not know was that it might not be ready for prime time. The FaceTime Play to which I'm referring isn't just for FaceTime. Called Persona, Apple describes it as an authentic spatial representation of an Apple Vision Pro user that lets call participants see the person's facial expressions and hand movements all in real time. Meant to work with third-party communications apps like Zoom, WebEx, and Microsoft Teams as well. It'll be interesting to see how it moves out of the gate. Persona is available in beta, according to Apple's press release. Now, I've heard more than one person say that the success of Apple Vision Pro rests on what developers do with and make for Apple's mixed reality headset. With less than a month until takeoff, Apple has updated tools for those developers. Mac Rumor says Apple on Monday released version 15.2 of Xcode and version 3.5 of Test Flight. The former's for writing apps, the latter's for testing apps. The piece says both have been updated with support for the Vision Pro headset, the App Store for which is also being stocked. According to the piece, apps created for Vision OS can be submitted to the Apple Vision Pro App Store starting, yesterday actually. Many iPhone and iPad apps will work on Apple Vision Pro unmodified according to the report, but developers can make device-specific tweaks to them. Or, make whole new apps. Just be careful how you refer to them. Mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality. None of the above would be Apple's preference. While the company itself has been referring to Vision Pro as a product with augmented and virtual reality technologies, and while Apple CEO Tim Cook introduced the device as an entirely new AR platform, a piece from 9 to 5 Mac says Apple would like developers to keep terms like AR, VR, and MR out of their marketing lexicon. Instead, according to the piece, Apple says that Vision OS apps are spatial computing apps. The way 9 to 5 Mac sees it, by emphasizing that Vision Pro is a spatial computing platform, Apple wants to distinguish its product from any other AR, VR headset out there. Also, it's called Apple Vision Pro, not Vision Pro, not Apple Vision. Do not taunt Apple Vision Pro, and never, ever beat it after midnight. When Apple Vision Pro was announced, I knew a few people who said they were considering getting one, and a lot more people who said no way. Some simply couldn't afford it, while others said that they would prefer to plunk down for version 2 of the headset whenever that happens to happen. With 6 months to consider, and with less than a month until the thing hits, I wonder how many minds have changed. Do you plan to pre-order an Apple Vision Pro? Why or why not? If you're not buying one, do you plan to line up to try the thing out on the 2nd of February? I'm on the fence on that one, which I think means I'll be in line very late on the 1st of February. Anyway, let me know what your plans are and your thoughts. You can send me an email, info@macosken.com. You can also leave me a voicemail, 716-780-4080. A negative note on iPhone on Monday. Bloomberg highlights a report from Jefferies analyst Edison Lee, who says iPhone sales in China dropped 30% last week versus the same week a year ago. That prompted an interesting question from Apple 3.0's Philip Elmer DeWitt. Since when are smartphone sales reported on a weekly basis? And again, these numbers come not from reports, but from industry checks. Philip Elmer DeWitt had not heard of Edison Lee before, but you and I have. Okay, I have. I talked about him on macOS Ken. Interestingly, in the second week of October 2023, roughly 3 weeks before Apple's fourth quarter fiscal year 23 earnings report. It was then that Lee said that early sales for iPhone 15 in China were down double digits compared to iPhone 14 a year earlier. He said that that was because of the resurgence of Huawei and that iPhone would keep dropping in 2024. Now here we are in the second week of January 2024, roughly 3 weeks before Apple's first quarter fiscal year 2024 earnings report, and Lee is practically cutting and pasting into a new note. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying weird, isn't it? For what it's worth, it was Bloomberg that brought Lee's gloom and doom both times. Not only does he not follow Apple for Jeffries, he doesn't seem to be that great at the stuff he does follow. Back in October, TipRanks tracked Lee with a success rate of 43% and an average return of negative 4.9%. It seems he is having as bad a year as he says iPhone is. TipRanks now tracks Lee with a success rate of 40% and an average return of negative 7.1%. Why, Bloomberg? Why? Seriously. Why? Firms are putting another $1.5 billion into iPhone production for India. Apple Insider says both Tata and Pegatron have agreed to expansion plans in the country. Most of the money in the report is coming from Tata. The firm bought its way into iPhone manufacturing last year when it picked up an iPhone plant from Wistron. Now the piece says Tata has agreed to invest $1.4 billion for what is described as establishing mobile phone assembly operations in the Tamil Nadu region. As for the rest, Apple Insider says iPhone assembler Pegatron has also committed $120 million for expansion in the region. Here's a story one hates to hear. An iPhone has survived a 16,000-foot drop and turned up in working condition. Okay, that last part's pretty impressive. Luck plus engineering equals an amazingly durable device. No, the part you hate to hear is how the phone came to fall 16,000 feet. It did that by being sucked out of an airplane, specifically the Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 that lost an exit door plug at the end of last week. On Sunday, says a piece from Ars Technica, game developer Jonathan Bates discovered a working iPhone that fell 16,000 feet from Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 on Friday. According to a post by Bates on Twitter, found an iPhone on the side of the road, still in airplane mode with half a battery and open to a baggage claim for Alaska Airlines ASA 1282, survived a 16,000-foot drop perfectly intact. Twice I have dropped iPhones from 3 feet and had them shatter. I may not be getting high enough. Interestingly, the NTSB says 2 phones have been found from that flight. The one Bates found on the side of the road and another found in somebody's yard. No word on the make of the other phone, nor on what condition its condition is in. The Apple Originals film Napoleon is starting its assault on your living room today. Apple TV Plus issued a press release Monday heralding the film's arrival for rent or purchase on Tuesday, the 9th of January, which is pretty much now. That likely means it's a little over a month away from streaming on Apple TV Plus. Sales and rentals through video on demand for Killers of the Flower Moon hit about 5 weeks before its Apple TV Plus debut. That is scheduled for this Friday, the 12th of January. And finally today, night 2 of the Creative Arts Emmy Awards was an even bigger night for Apple than the first one. I told you yesterday of the Cupertino Company's wins on night 1, including 2 for Ted Lasso, 1 for 5 Days at Memorial, and 1 for Blackbird. Now Deadline has the full list for both nights, featuring the 8 Apple won on night 2. They include 4 for Still, a Michael J. Fox story, Outstanding Music Composition for a Documentary Series or Special, Outstanding Documentary or Nonfiction Special, Outstanding Picture Editing for a Nonfiction Program, and Outstanding Direction for a Documentary Nonfiction Program. There were 2 for the Apple Music Super Bowl 57 halftime show with Rihanna, including Outstanding Directing for a Variety Special and Outstanding Production Design for a Variety Special, 1 for Outstanding Commercial for The Greatest, Apple Accessibility, and 1 for Outstanding Emerging Media Program for the For All Mankind Season 3 experience. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.